basically, Chloe Hayden, who's an actress, an author, an autistic advocate who spreads her message with nothing but compassion and joy, has decided that she has to take a major step back from social media and she will no longer be running her social media accounts herself anymore. You might be thinking, why did she get herself cancelled? How on earth could Chloe Hayden possibly get herself cancelled? Did she film an autistic toddler having a meltdown in a supermarket and post it online with a bunch of laughing emojis? But no, of course she didn't, because she's Chloe Hayden. She's the personification of a rainbow, of a butterfly, of a unicorn, a rainbow unicorn. From my detective work, it seems like a lot of it is to do with humpback whales and stimming. Who would take issue with anyone having this sort of reaction to seeing whales? Chloe posted this video on her TikTok page. Oh, it makes me feel emotional when I watch that, because just like seeing somebody who is an adult, is she the same age as me or a year younger? She's a very similar age to me, but she was diagnosed significantly younger than I was. She was diagnosed at 12, I was diagnosed mid-20s, so she's had a lot more time to kind of feel comfortable in her own skin and kind of get to know her autistic self. If you don't know what stimming is, it's short for self-stimulatory behaviors. They appear in the DSM-5 diagnostic criteria for autism, and they're basically little things that neurodivergent people do to provide ourselves with comfort, to express ourselves, to improve our concentration. There is research to suggest, and most autistic people would probably attest to the fact that stimming has a positive impact on our mental well-being, and not stimming and suppressing our stims because we're in public and we want to look normal can have a very negative impact on our mental health.
Stimming is something that is unfortunately very taboo. It's something that needs to be taken out and therapied away, which it doesn't.
A lot of autistic people mask and try and cover up their autistic traits. I flapped my hands all the time as a child, like Chloe's doing in this video, particularly when I was excited, particularly when I saw animals, but I stopped doing it in my middle childhood because I was told that it was weird. Throughout my life, I kind of had this deep fear that if people saw the way I flapped my hands when I was in private, I would be institutionalized immediately or locked up and throw away the key, get her in a padded cell, you know? I think maybe that's because openly stimming is associated with autistic people with higher support needs, some of whom may have a learning disability, who maybe are not able to, or they just don't have the desire to suppress their stimming. Many autistic people like me, who most people would class as lower support needs, over time we learn that suppressing our natural instincts and our natural reactions to things is the best way to succeed socially. But it takes a lot of effort, it's exhausting, and it takes a toll on our mental health. So I think somebody like Chloe, who is a successful autistic person, she's an actress, she's a model, she's written a book, someone like her as an adult stimming openly and freely in public is confusing to a lot of people. Here's someone who looks kind of like me that I can relate to moving her body in this unusual way, and I think that kind of almost seems to set up a threat response in some people, and the response that Chloe received from this video is exactly why so many of us choose to mask, and exactly why so many people who are being diagnosed as autistic later in life don't look autistic, because there are consequences to looking autistic. And we can take a quick look at the comment section now. There's over 18,000 comments on there. This has been up for a few months, so some of the worst offenders may have kind of been removed and blocked. I don't know. It's not great in there even now. The top comment with 11.7k likes is me when I passed maths, and it seems like a lot of people in the comment section are kind of turning this into a meme. Someone says Craig Kimbrell at the beginning, who I believe is a baseball player. They're making a comparison because of some of the movements that she made. Me when I get KFC, me when I get a tin of Red Bull, and then someone put yes so ... beautiful. So they're kind of being sarcastic because she says reminder that autistic joy is beautiful, like yeah, whatever you say, this is not beautiful kind of thing. And then there's someone commenting, I feel like I'll never be able to express my autistic joy in public. I love this video so much. It's got 5,000 likes, you know, probably from the autistic community, but it's really sad that people were saying I feel like I'll never be able to do this, and then there's people here kind of reminding us of why a lot of us feel like we can't do that. Someone tagging a friend and then saying me when mom says yes to a Chinese. I think it's just reached people outside of the autistic community, and they're kind of finding it funny and finding humor in saying, oh, this is me, because they find it, you know, somewhat ridiculous. I think that's the implication. Somebody commented, you do not do this on a regular with 2 crying faces. And there does seem to be a bit of a theme of this in the comment section. People implying that Chloe is pretending to be autistic or putting this on in some way for attention. Somebody put the comments laughing my arse off. It gives me vibes of high school, of how people behaved when I was a teenager. And it's just nasty, and this sense of like ganging up and people enjoying kind of being in on a joke together at the expense of somebody else. And it's really sad to see that. I kind of hoped that maybe with Gen Z and younger, we'd perhaps moved on a little bit and people were a little bit more accepting of things. It's to me, this just shows me like, yeah, no, it probably isn't that different. Like if I went to school now, I'm not sure I would be having a great time. I'm autistic, but I got the boring looks like a stoic type and genuinely wish I could emote like this when I had big emotions. I always wonder when I see comments like this, like how many of these people would maybe be more expressive in this way. Not saying that it isn't valid to be a stoic autistic, but I often feel more like the stoic autistic person when I'm in environments where I don't feel comfortable to be myself. I'm much more likely to do happy sims and dive around the room if I'm at home. I'm highly unlikely to do that in public. It wasn't just comments left on Chloe's videos. People made stitches and duets, which is like when you kind of reuse the content to make your own videos. You'll have a bit of their video and then you kind of respond to it. It's a video response, everyone. So most of these stitches are kind of mocking. So again, we've got the mention of this baseball guy.
Is that Craig Kimbrell? Yep, that's Craig.
And then that person kind of stitched on a clip from quite a popular TikTok user. I think they were trying to do an impression of an old person. I don't know. I couldn't figure out what video that was originally from. They're called Brittany Broski. It wasn't Brittany posting that. It was somebody else cutting together Chloe's video with that. And then like the comments on all of these are pretty nasty as well. The duality of man, I think they should duel. There's an autistic person saying I can't exist without being made fun of. And then somebody commented people who say they've got it versus people who've actually got it. So trying to say the second one, the person making the noises, was somebody who is actually autistic, and the first person is somebody just saying they're autistic, which is offensive for so many reasons. Then we have this bizarre one of like male autistic joy showing like some gym bro smacking himself in the head again and again. I'm not even really sure what the point of this was. Apologies for bringing these things to your screens. And then somebody's taken the one where they put Chloe and Brittany together and just kind of put a clip of themselves like laughing and finding it hilarious. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't really be laughing at this sort of laugh. That's the impression that I get. Like, oh, isn't this edgy humor? Forgetting that there are actual real people involved. She also had some horrible comments on this video she posted a while back. So it was a trend of autistic people reacting to stimmy music. So they play the music for the first time and kind of show their live reaction on TikTok. I don't know if I can play it on here because it might be copyrighted, but I'll leave a link down below to all the TikToks that I show here. But it makes me want to cry. Yeah, it makes me feel really nice. And the top comment from Corn Dog with nearly 300 likes is, do this in public, sis. And then she responded with a compilation of stimming in public because stimming is not taboo. And then there's comments saying, not another one, with a line face emoji. This is so exaggerated. Wait, is this a joke or no? So I think this was around the time when it was a bit of a thing on TikTok. People were kind of pretending to be autistic, posting TikToks of themselves kind of mocking stimming. Like this one here.
Autism Awareness Week. Let's all be aware of Harry.
POV, you're an alt girl with self-diagnosed autism showing off her stims in quotation marks.
What? And I say this from the bottom of the pits of my heart. The heck are you doing? Where was the thought process? There are so many things wrong with this video. First of all, the caption being that it was not intended to insult or offend autistic people while you were very obviously sarcastically mimicking stimming, which is something that we have been belittled for our entire lives. Where's your thought process, girl? Stop posting ableist content for clout. It's really gross. Tell you what, your favorite pick me too, you picked your name well.
The problem is that people on TikTok have seen content like this pick me person's content and have gone, look, yes, some people do fake autism, and when they fake autism they move their hands in funny ways, so they've used that as kind of a free pass to look at Chloe's stuff and go, she's probably just faking it, she's probably just self-diagnosed, and then they think it gives them a free pass for that reason to be mean to her. It's like you can't win as an autistic person on the internet. If you show your masked self, then you'll get you don't look autistic. If you show your unmasked self, then you're going to be told you're faking it. I guess I can get away with showing videos of myself as a child because no one was going to tell me I was faking it at 3 or 4 years old. But I imagine if I had videos of myself doing similar movements now, which I do when I'm on my own and in private, that I would probably be told I was putting it on, particularly if I posted them on TikTok, because they probably know nothing. They know nothing about autism. They know nothing about how difficult it is to get a diagnosis, why so many people are being diagnosed later in life. I mean, Chloe was diagnosed at 12, which is pretty damn early for a sort of lower support needs autistic female. If you don't know a lot about something, maybe just don't post anything. If you want to go away and do research before you form an opinion, great. If you don't have the time and you actually just want to scroll TikTok mindlessly, cool, that's fine. Maybe you just don't have to share an opinion, and maybe that's okay sometimes. If self-diagnosis is not valid, then your peer undiagnosis is certainly not valid. So just stay quiet and move on. This was Chloe's video response to it, which I thought was great.
Hi, so I posted this video a couple of weeks ago, a video of me stimming and excited because there was a pod of whales in front of me, and who doesn't get excited about seeing a pod of 10 humpback whales in front of them? That is the coolest thing ever. But apparently this video has caused so much anger and so much outrage, and the response has been literally vile. If you have a look at the stitches and the duets of this video, if you have a look at the comment section on this video, it is filled with ableism and with abuse, because the idea of autistic joy of a disabled person living and existing in ways that make sense to them is still deemed completely, entirely wrong. I have received literal death threats, multiple, at least 50 death threats, because of this video of me flapping my hands.
Was it people assuming that she's faking being autistic? What would be the reason for this? Or is it just people thinking they're really funny? Is it just like 12-year-olds? And no offense to 12-year-olds, because I know there'll be many 12-year-olds who would never do this, but is it just, you know, a certain 12-year-old thinking they're really funny?
People in this comment section are the same people that have bios that say things like treat people with kindness and that preach kindness and that say that they would never bully a disabled person. But when you see someone that doesn't meet your definition of disabled or normal, it confuses you and therefore it angers you. I am a neurodivergent human and I need extra support to get through the day in an environment that is not and has never been catered towards me. My job on this earth is not to be deemed aesthetically pleasing to the rest of the population just to make them comfortable at the sake of making myself uncomfortable. If someone flapping their hands makes you that goddamn uncomfortable, there is a very obvious showcasing of who needs to change, and hint, it's not the person flapping their hands. Grow up, see a therapist, and maybe go and flap your hands for a little bit. Jesus Christ.
That's the best, most articulate response ever. I love Chloe so much. And I think that this move of stepping away from social media shows strength, you know? I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to put up this boundary. I'm not going to let people bring me down. If people are going to leave this sort of comments, then fine, I'm going to create a distance because I'm going to protect what I'm doing here because I believe in it so much. She got a lot of loving, kind comments and stitches from the autistic community.
Y'all really make me sick to go on this lovely woman's page and comment all these, what are we doing? Bitch, she was sharing a joyous moment.
This makes me so happy to see, and go watch the whole video if you didn't, but this is exactly how I experience joy, and I've been shamed a lot for it in my life, but it is so pure and beautiful.
Hopefully this video doesn't scare anybody off unmasking and stimming after that last video I posted about, you know, how much not stimming can affect our mental health negatively. That's the last thing that I want to do. I do think, of course, that you need to look after yourself, and yes, it is a fact that not every person in this world is someone who it is safe for you to be yourself around. That's just kind of an unfortunate reality. But stimming is not something to be ashamed of. The people leaving these mocking comments and trying to turn Chloe into a meme, they are the ones who should be ashamed. And the only way to stop this from happening and to break down this stigma is to keep stimming, to keep trying to normalize this and make this something that people are used to seeing, so it doesn't set off whatever this weird confusion, threat response reaction people have to seeing it. Of course, you may feel self-conscious stimming out in public. You don't need to make yourself do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. That almost feels like another form of masking. Maybe start with stimming at home around people who you feel safe with. Maybe start when nobody's around. I still stim way more when nobody is around. That is still a fact. Use fidget toys if you feel like that might look a little bit more socially acceptable. Building up the mask took years. You cannot expect yourself to just be able to switch and be like comfortable and realigned with your authentic autistic self like overnight. And so please go and follow Chloe if you're not following her. If you don't have TikTok, she has Instagram. She also has a YouTube channel. Please go over there, show her love and kindness and support, and buy her book if you want to. It's kind of heartbreaking when you have the context of having read her book and read like the level of bullying she went through is beyond, and then has to be subjected to this as an adult is horrible. If you would like to learn a little bit more about why not stimming can be dangerous for autistic people, then I'll leave a link to that video down below. I went through some recent research into that and why a lot of therapies that are still by many people considered to be the gold standard encourage people to suppress their stimming, and why that could be a pretty terrible thing. It's definitely a topic that I want to continue talking about it because I think it's so important for the mental well-being of autistic people. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me. We have a wonderful Discord server over there that you can join. If you just join the lowest tier on Patreon, you can get in there. Also on the lowest tier, you get 2 whole exclusive videos every month. One of the recent ones was over an hour long. That took me a long time to edit. If I look tired now, that's probably why. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Happy stimming.